Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome to another episode of Tea and Coffee with Paula and
Jay, you're keeping on top of those Thursdays and the Wednesdays and all that kind of stuff. No hard hat today.
No hard hat today. Yes, I asked him beforehand. Got anything hiding under the desk? No,
Not today.
not today.
Not today. But thank you for being with us again this morning. It's going to be another great episode. I call it great. I hope you do as well, because we have April Hutchinson here. And she's a strong woman in Canada, like physically and also in the sport. And she got herself in some trouble by being super crazy and saying men aren't women. What a crazy lady.
Crazy lady. No, of course not. She's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Men are not women. Women are not men. Goes both ways.
Well, there goes our sponsorships. I'm just kidding. We don't have any. Well, the supporters are the ones that help us out. So thank you very much for that. We don't do donations. We don't take on any sponsorship. We've been approached. We've certainly been approached. You know, a silver cream person and then gold people reach out to us. But I still think it's best we don't do that because we want to be open, honest, have absolutely zero input from anybody else.
Yep. I agree. No, I agree. Unless Starlink wants to sponsor, so I'll take Starlink internet. That'll be all right. We have it anyway.
No, we'll use it and we'll pay for it and we'll stay unbiased and have no influence at all. Because I think that's one way for us, at least, because we're focused on news, politics, and also with our ambitions to, run for offices, various offices. It's probably best to stay away from sponsorships because there's complications then. Like, is that a campaign donation, et cetera, et cetera?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we'll stay away from that
Very good point. Very good point, because it's fine. Like when it's political stuff, and because especially they won't catch you at the time. They're like, 20 years later, did you not take sponsorship when you were a small podcast? No.
It will come up when you win. It's like, oh, Jason won or Paula won. Oh, by the way, here's what we dug up. It looks like you guys are sponsors from the honey industry. Big honey.
Big honey. No kidding. But yeah, I guess so.
But as we learned again yesterday, because there's a lot of work and accountability involved in finances for campaigns, because we're still finishing up our obligations there. So we definitely take that stuff seriously. So to all those that have reached out, thank you. I appreciate that. And even to all the other podcasters that said, hey, it works for me, will work for you. Maybe, but it doesn't work for us completely. So thank you very much for reaching out. But we're going to stay with our memberships. And you can also throw that on the screen right now. Our memberships is how we get this going. Yep. Paula's playing with something. I don't know. I hear click, click, click.
Yeah, I'm getting my stuff ready. There you go.
There you go. So make sure you subscribe, like. You can hit the notification to get the new episodes and share this out there. And you can also become a member at thelevineshow.com.
This does not want to click off.
She's blaming the tech.
I am blaming the tech.
So you can become a member at thelevineshow.com. It's pretty simple. You end up becoming a Locals member.
Yeah.
So the Locals platform. And you get the extended episode. And I do want to do something more for them eventually. We just have to get some more time, but you definitely get the extended episodes daily. So you get probably an hour and a half a week more of the show, especially when our guests are there. And sometimes it's stuff that they don't feel comfortable going public with, but they can go ahead and talk to us in private with our members. So those are kind of some of the advantages there.
Yeah, exactly. You can become a member for free, but then you become a subscriber, and that's where it's the paid option where you get the full episodes. So yeah, go ahead, consider it.
And chat. So the chat in there is pretty lively. Some good people in there.
Yes, it is.
And they do have the priority. So when there's chats going on there, Paula will pay attention sometimes during the show. and we'll bring them forward, especially when we're in the after show or after the public show. We'll do some of those chats for the guest.
Yes. Oh, and Annette, I love this little comment here in Facebook. Big honey would just make you too extra sweet.
Oh, Annette. Oh, you're too sweet yourself. Clearly, she's been taken over by Big Honey, and they got to her because she's so sweet as well.
They got you. Big Honey got you. But yeah, that's very sweet. That's kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, now we know you're listening, Annette. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. But yeah, we didn't get a lot done around here yesterday, other than I had to fix a bed, our little hide-a-bed. So we have as many of you may know, we live in a fifth wheel trailer,
Mhm.
and we have one of those hide-a-beds because that's what we sleep on. The kids get the master bedroom because they're clearly the masters of the house anyways. But it sets up way better for them. They get that. We get the bed in the couch. So after like 3 years or so of daily opening and closing, started to get wobbly. And then yesterday
It broke. Well, it came apart, didn't break.
it broke. It broke.
Yeah.
The piece broke, and yeah, tell the truth.
Well, you were the one fixing it. I was merely holding it up and occasionally holding a light. So you fixed it. Man fixed it.
So carpentry, had to do a little carpentry
Yeah.
yesterday because there's some wood involved.
There you go. Brought to you by the good people at Gorilla Glue.
And then Gorilla Glue, because one of the anchors it sells that the bolt goes into, that snapped. But I was able to kind of fill that in and with Gorilla Glue to kind of harden it, and it worked quite well. And we were able to put it back together, and it's better than it was before.
No wobble. I was going to say less wobble, no wobble. That's been pretty good. So yeah, thanks, babe.
It's her half too.
Yeah.
I get the couch part, and then this thing pulls out, and she gets like the L for her feet of the couch, and then this is the bed that pulls out. So yeah, I'm glad you were comfortable. You slept well. You didn't sink.
No, I didn't sink. Just had a weird dream.
Go on. I've shared a couple dreams on the show. It's your turn.
Yeah, it was just very random. Like I can't remember the context of we were talking to this person with his wife. I think the kids were around like a long.
Why are you this personing?
I'm getting
you can get there.
Yeah, so it was Matt Walsh from Daily Wire, and for those who know him, full head of hair, full beard, glasses. He was completely bald, full beard still on, but not anything like the only hair on the above his nose were eyelashes and the eyebrows, and it was hilarious. So I can now visualize what Matt Walsh looks like completely bald. But yeah, he was in my dream. Him and his wife.
Were they trying to recruit us? Like,
no, I have no idea. Can't remember the context, but I think we were outside, long picnic table. You and I are here. He and his wife there. I think like kids in the middle, but he was there, just cue ball on top of his head.
So Matt, if you're listening, you can do, and maybe she's subliminally telling me to do the same thing, because the mornings that I haven't dashed my head and wearing a hat, you'll do my hair in the mornings.
I wet and comb your hair. Come over the homers.
They're stubborn. The homer hair, they're
right?
stubborn. Like sometimes they're just blip, straight right there, and it won't go down.
No matter how much like water I'll put on there, like it's okay. When I used to work in Alexandria, I had a colleague with a tinsel comment. He's the one who came up with it, because I had one gray hair that wouldn't grow long, and it kind of stuck up and was wiry. He kept saying, "Hey, you got tinsel at the top of your head." So yeah,
antenna.
Yeah, exactly right.
No, you've got a collection.
I've quite the growing collection. Although, what do you call me the other day? Like Arlene Dickinson? Am I going to do that? Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
You're heading in that direction.
I'm heading that naturally, but I'm not going to purposefully dye her.
I don't know if she purposely dyes it. Do you think so?
Yeah.
Is it like a trademark thing?
Yeah, because she's got a lot of that, so she dyes it to make it a look.
All right. I didn't know that. Things you learn, the more you know.
Well, she did, and I think now she's all one color. I caught a glimpse of Dragon's Den the other day, and I think she's all one color now. Anyway.
There you go.
I digress.
Canadians, Arlene Dickinson, is she naturally gray? Did she dye at all? What's going on? I bet you can't wait on your drive for the podcast of Paula Jay.
Oh, question from locals. Pietro, lovely to see you. Jason Paul, I hope it's okay to ask, are you having an interview with Kathy Flett? Exciting.
Actually, I recorded it like 3 days ago. So yes, she's part of our Alberta Self-Determination series. She was in the studio. She came down last week. So it was Wednesday. So just over a week ago, we recorded it.
Yeah.
So yes, Kathy Flett's an awesome woman. She's advocating for independence. She does a lot of speaking, but she was sitting in Paula's seat last week.
So there you go, Pietro.
Ask away.
Coming soon.
We're ahead of you there, Pietro. I hope you're at the AGM too. It was great to see you at that one event at the APP in Calgary with your wife. I hope we're going to see you again soon. And speaking of which, yes, I'm all ticketed up, and I got my pass and all that kind of stuff. So you'll find me at the media table. You'll see our banner, and I'll probably still be wearing a hat because the bandage may come off a bit tomorrow. But I do not want to scare any people away with my Frankenstein forehead. All right, as we jump into it, Mitch Sylvester yesterday, great episode, especially if you're on the local side of things, because we dug into a few more things about what was going on from his perspective. I'm going to give you a little hint. We were talking about the same group that during the public side, we're talking about the group that replaced Jason Kenney with Danielle Smith. Same people aren't very pleased. So go ahead and check that out. If you are a locals member, you can do that right away. And if you're not, you can join and then check it out.
Yep.
But he's got the pulse of the political class in Alberta. People talk to him, share with him, and he knows what's going on. He is nonpartisan. So that was one thing I was really proud of him. When we started talking about the voting, he didn't say who to vote for. He's going to have his own vote. Everybody's going to have their own vote, but APP is nonpartisan. So keep it up. I think that's how he gets a lot of his support, because he's focused on educating people and driving around his truck all over Alberta to do that.
Good guy. Yeah.
So this picture's been making the rounds all over the place. Okay, so Wiretap has put together this, and for those that are on a podcast listening, this is a photograph of the Second Sons group on the London Bridge in Ontario. They got the how do you say that flag name?
Insignia?
Yeah, thank you. Flag, the old Canadian flag before they changed it to the company logo, the corporation logo. Some people refer to it as the maple leaf flag. And remigration. How do you say that word?
I don't know. Remigration. I can't.
Remigration.
REMGR.
Remigration.
Yeah.
REMigration.
Okay.
Remigration. Okay, and there's also some disputes about what that means, but my research and my conversations means they want to kind of rewind the clock to when it was British, or it was English, French, Scottish, Irish immigrants here, and then everybody else necessary for their version of Canada. I don't align in a lot of this, because that means like you have to go.
Yeah.
And this is kind of something that you recognize as changes were happening with this group, and you're like, nah, that means you have to leave, my kids have to leave, and we're not on that level at all. But we certainly do agree that illegals have to go, and also agree that legals can become illegals in many different ways.
Sure.
Commit a crime, get caught lying on your application, trying to help people be smuggled in against the rules. There's lots of ways for somebody who came in legally to become illegal, and then they have to go. But I certainly focus on illegals. So I would align with that. But that's not really the point of this post. This post has gotten a lot of attention, some negative attention, of course. Like, that's no surprise. CBC and other media outlets are kind of twisting this into white nationalist type of thing. I'm not really going to comment too much on that, because I don't think they are. I think they're nationalist. I don't think they're white nationalist, because there was a lot of different colors of people coming through England, France, Ireland, and Scotland. So I don't think they're white nationalist, but they're certainly nationalist. But the point of this post is, and I'll read it to you. Canada, this is a demonstration of freedom of expression. You don't have to like it. That's kind of the point. The right to freedom of expression exists to protect unpopular expressions, as popular ones don't need protection. The facts here are that a majority of Canadians do support mass deportation, with 65% agreeing that there are too many immigrants in Canada. So, and there's a link to a National Post article providing exactly those details. So the mainstream media and advocates of hate are twisting the narrative to demonize the will of the majority and to attack Canadians' freedom of expression. No surprise here that they're doing that, especially to this group. There's some people that are going like, well, they shouldn't have protection and freedom of expression because they cover their faces. Sorry, that's not a caveat in the chart.
Yeah.
That's not a requirement.
Yeah.
And even covering your face can be part of your expression. So I have no problem with that at all. Some people are saying, well, this is just the wrong message to be sending. That's your opinion, and you're welcome to have your expression as well, to free to say it. I think this is doing exactly what they're trying to do, which is to have the conversation happen. Because look what's happening. Everybody's talking about it now.
Yeah.
Nobody got harmed. There was nothing illegal about this at all in any way, shape, or form. In fact, this is very illegal in Canada. But look at how many people are talking about it now.
Yeah, exactly.
So if their motivation was to make the conversation front and center and put it all over mainstream, they're succeeding. So yeah, I have no problem with it. I think what they're doing is fine as long as it stays legal. And so far, so good on that front. I don't agree with even there's other interpretations of what remigration means. Some people outside of this group says it means whites only. I don't think that's true. Google might allude to that, but that doesn't make it so. But it surely had a lot of lively conversations. So go check out the threads in there. There's several conversations in there about this, and also where I stand. I think illegals need to go, and I think legal immigrants can become illegal in various ways, and then they need to go too. But if you're legal, you're doing everything proper, fine. I have no problem with immigration itself.
Yeah.
When done legally. So Derek Smith here has posted this video. So this is a Fringe. So we know him as a Fringe. He's a great commentator. He's got a good YouTube channel growing. He posted a video here called Danielle Smith officially backs Alberta independence. Okay, so I'm going to defend him on this one. This isn't clickbait. Listen to the video, because a lot of people are frustrated with this and call it clickbait. Listen to the video, because what she does say, and this is a recent clip of her responding to a question about Jeffrey Rath and the APP, and they are pushing, or he's pushing certain people for the voting from the APP, not from the APP, but from Jeffrey Rath. But the question was mixing it all together. And her response was that this particular subject of independence is not a government initiative. The government itself is going to leave that up to citizens. And she also spoke about that she was elected on a mandate to serve all Albertans, and independence wasn't one of the mandates. However, and here's where Derek is taking the clip and kind of highlighting it. She did basically say, however, if there's a referendum that changes that mandate, she will go ahead and support the new mandate. So basically, she says she represents Albertans, and if Alberta, through a referendum, changes the mandate for her, then she will continue to represent Albertans on that new mandate. So that would mean she would be backing independence if it's voted for. Okay, so that is a clear indicator that she's not going to stand in the way of it. She's not going to try and stop it. She's left it up to the people. If they get the referendum signatures and get it done and vote, and it's a vote for yes, then she will represent the will of the people. That's basically what her clip says. And thank you, Derek, for sharing that. And it looks like he may be on our show Monday as we do a breakdown of the AGM. I'll be seeing him all weekend, I'm sure, at the media table. But we're trying to coordinate, working together to give our opinion of what happened at the AGM. And for those that are going, I should be there tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, and I'll be there for basically the whole thing. So Alberta independence reason 1793, and this one has an attempt to community notes me, and I'll address that in a second. But Alberta independence reason 1793. The landlocked Alberta argument collapses the moment you look at international law. As a sovereign country, Alberta would gain legal rights it does not have today, including guaranteed access to the sea. Under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UN clause, whatever, landlocked nations have the legal right to access and use neighboring coastal states' ports, shipping routes, and transit corridors. Coastal states must allow freedom of transit for goods moving to and from landlocked countries. This isn't optional. It's binding international law. See Part 10 of UNCLOS, and there's a link for it. And here's what I'm highlighting here, and this is why we'll get to the community's notes for a second. As a province, Alberta has no international standing and cannot invoke these rights. So actually being a province within a nation, we're landlocked. If the nation makes it so, then we are. But as a nation, Alberta could. Now, there's that could word, not will.
Well, exactly,
could. It could, okay? There's a lot more to it than just becoming a nation. But anyways, we could. We have the ability to leverage those laws. In a strong and free Alberta, our exports would move to tidewater under international protection, not at the mercy of Ottawa or other provinces. So the community's note basically says, you can't force a BC. Yeah, I know, I understand. There's a negotiation, but the negotiation will be done under the international law, and BC could face international court. They could face other international consequences if they are impeding and not going ahead in good faith. And same thing for Canada. So if Canada tries to impede that whole process, it will not work well for them on an international stage. Yes, you cannot unilaterally, and I never said unilateral in there at all. I said under international law, it is a guarantee, but there does have to be a negotiation. So there would be a process. But the whole point of this post is, as a new nation, we would actually have more rights and laws helping us get to the sea than we do today. So that was the whole point of that one. All right. Okay, so here's another reason. This should itself be Alberta independence reason, because here's the East making fun of the West. They think it's funny. This is not a brand new thing. This is their attitude for 100 years now. So this cartoonist, I think it's Toronto Star. I don't want to say Sun. I think it's a Toronto Star. Yeah, Toronto Star.
Yeah.
Making fun of Danielle Smith. And this is exactly what's coming down today. So 10 o'clock, Nico and I are going to jump on a stream and cover the press conference in Calgary with Premier Danielle Smith and Prime Minister Mark Carney. We already know, because he's already let the cat out of the bag. And this is exactly how I see it as well. That Mark Carney is treating Alberta like a child, and just kind of keeping her busy, and he's no intention to actually build anything. That's what this comic means. For those on the road who are listening to this, it's Mark Carney looking all smug with a bubble that says, "Now that's what I call parenting," and it's a child figure of Danielle Smith with a box open of different pieces of a pipe. It's like a little toy set with the headline "Pipeline Agreement in Principle, 1,000 pieces." This is actually what the MOU is, though. It is not something that's binding. It's not going to turn into anything. So the sentiment here, I actually agree with, but the characterization of Alberta as children and our premier as a child,
with toys.
This is how the East sees the West. So keep it up, guys. At least when Quebec was leaving in 95, you said, "We love you, Quebec, stay." Alberta's talking about it, and you're treating us like infants.
Yeah.
So keep it up. I think that actually helps move more people to independence. So, and Brian Lilly himself posted, "This is a type of smug central Canadian pandering that helps drive Western alienation and separatism. I know many smart people, once proud Canadians, willing to look at the separatist option now." Exactly. So this is Brian. He's seeing what we're seeing on the ground as well. Albertans are waking up. They're waking up to the poor relationship that we have. Simpsons nailed it again.
Thank goodness.
It's so fun to catch these and see these, but for the people on the road, it's a shot from The Simpsons with Burns on the right, and what's his name again? Smithers on the left. And then basically the real version of that with Carney, and then his finance minister guy that declared or delivered the budget on his left, or our left, his right. But has the hand pose.
Oh, yes.
The look,
with the fingers together,
the sneer, the everything. This is another one of those uncanny moments from The Simpsons, because, and we've been saying this for a while, Carney does have the posture and the look of Burns. Sorry, Burns. Thank you very much. So it's uncanny. Christia. Change your spell checker to Canadian. So here she is. She's posting that she's really pleased to have met President Zelensky, and I just want to put it on the public record for international news to cover. She's probably the only person shorter than him to meet in person. But other than that, as a short man, she's the only person that can make him look taller. But in either case, here she is highlighting that it's been 1,300 days since President Zelensky told the world we are still here, and Canada has stood with Ukraine every step of the way. On Tuesday, I had the honor of standing with President Zelensky once again. She used the American spelling of honor. This is a pet peeve of mine, especially if you claim to be Canadian and you're fighting for Canada in any way, shape, or form. At least use our spelling. So I posted here, "Wow, you failed Canada as MP, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Finance, and candidate for the Liberal Party leadership. And now you're even failing at Canadian spelling. It's honor with a U, not honor." Do get it right. Do get it right. All right. As we move our way through, we see our guest is there. We'll see you in about 6 minutes as we get through the news here. Your camera looks great. You look good to go. So this is low. This is the Toronto Sun. Katy Perry sues a disabled veteran, 86, for $5.5 million. This is a property dispute, something to do with property. But yeah, she is initiating a claim against an older gentleman over a property dispute. So my post here is, this is low. However, when she has dinner with Justin Trudeau, she's still only the second worst scumbag at the table. He's got her beat, even when she does stuff like this. He's got her beat. It could be why she's in a relationship with him, because nobody can make her look better. Yeah, because he's still, let's not forget about what this guy did. 10 years of Justin Trudeau. He bashed our economy. He destroyed us.
He insulted us.
And left and took off with his astronaut girlfriend.
To the moon.
To the moon. Oh, that'd be great. Come on, send them all up in a rocket. All right, so this morning, then she is trying to poke some fingers at the UCP. What he says here, it's no surprise that over a third of the UCP caucus has recall petitions filed against them. Scandal after scandal has left people exhausted with this government. Albertans want better. They deserve better. Nancy, you're a goofball with a capital G on that one. You guys are doing exactly what the Democrats did to Trump. You just file the paperwork and say, oh, well, he can never take away the impeachment. Well, he wasn't fully impeached. There's a process. Just filing the paperwork doesn't mean much. But Nancy, you're a capital G goofball. Here's my post. The real scandals are: the Alberta NDP party structure includes former Labour vice presidents and representation from union-affiliated caucuses. This is part of their constitution. They have union members in their leadership of their party. It cost only $500 to launch a recall petition with no requirement to prove misconduct or wrongdoing. That is one of the fatal flaws of the recall process in Alberta. You just need to do the paperwork and $500 and you can get it going. You don't actually have to show a scandal or wrongdoing in any way, shape, or form. It's really, it's up to the people if they agree that that person should be recalled. I don't mind the process, to be frank with you, but to imply that there's scandals tied to these recalls is a lie. Next point here, a dedicated website is actively coordinating efforts to recall 44 MLAs who voted for Bill 2. There's a website, Operation Total Recall. So again, where's the scandal? Even on this website, it doesn't list a single scandal for a single person that they're going after. It literally says we're recalling all 44 MLAs who voted for Bill 2, which was a notwithstanding act that ended the teacher strike. Next point here. The BC Teachers Federation approved sending up to $1 million to the Alberta Teachers Association to help fight Bill 2. This is on the ATA's website itself. They're calling it Red Ed 2. But yes, so the BC Teachers Federation sending money to Alberta Teachers Association to fight Bill 2. So make the connection. The recalls for Bill 2 votes, and they got money from BC to go ahead and fight. And this is how they're fighting. They're fighting it through recalls. So I conclude here. And yet you call this coordinated, well-funded campaign to overturn democratic decisions a response to scandals. No, Nenshi, you are the scandal. And I also had, what's his name? You are a father.
Yeah, Maury
Povich, but I wrote that line. No, Nancy, you are the scandal. This is a scandal, taking money out of BC, $1 million to fund a coordinated website and effort to do the paperwork of $500 to recall MLAs. And you have direct ties to the unions as well. So this is the NDP doing this work with the unions to try and bring down the government over a policy that they don't like. That's not what the recall's for. This is the scandal. And he didn't even list a single scandal. Scandal after scandal. Albertans are fed up. No, they're fed up with you. I bet you. Okay, there's some indicators that we may get a snap election in Alberta. Some of those indicators are they're already making inquiries for spaces for to hold the elections themselves. So if you're a property owner, you own malls and that kind of stuff, they're reaching out to see availability. They're doing that here in Alberta. I got a tip on that one. So possibly, and it would make sense to me that there's a snap election in the spring, because you could end these recalls. You can cement Danielle Smith's leadership for another 4 years with the party. You won't swap her during an election. And they can also bring forward the independence question all at the same time. So we may have a spring-summer election and referendum all at the same time. We'll see. I have no confirmation of that. Nobody from the UCP side of things, the party or the government, have said anything like that, other than I got some tips that Elections Alberta is poking around for space. Now, that could be for the referendum.
True.
right? So
Yeah.
again, the tea leaves are not clear on this one. But if I was Danielle Smith and I was looking at the tides right now, I probably would consider a snap election to secure a mandate from Alberta. And if that mandate was independence, there you go.
Yeah, because you said
And
she
if it's
follows the
not,
elected
if
mandate.
it comes off as no go, then that's another mandate for her.
Yeah.
So anyways,
exactly.
we'll see what happens. But the scandal is Nenshi himself. Last couple posts here, and then we're going to get right to our guest. She's drinking, I don't know, iced tea. Maybe she got an iced tea there. I'm not sure. We'll find out. You're smiling. We got her. So Regina Wettall is going to be joining us next Tuesday, December 2nd. She's done a lot more research, put together some more reports. She's the author of, oh boy, what's the name of the book now?
Fistman's Fraud.
There you go. Thank you very much. You're not just a cute co-host. You're full of information. And to those that are watching, she's my wife. I can say that. But she'll be joining us on Tuesday, 7:30 Mountain and 9:30 Eastern to talk about her newest report. Basically, the COVID-19 data shows it was a scam. No surprise there.
Yeah, no surprise there. But what I love about Regina's work is that she provides the receipts. Here's the evidence.
She's never been
to say
sued,
that.
even by Fistman.
Exactly.
She hasn't had to recall anything or retract anything. It's all data driven. She takes zero emotions into this. She does her own work there, and she's not sponsored by Big Honey either.
But yeah, and so that way you can refer to her as a resource because you could use her book because it's a collection of resources and data. So that's why I love about her as her work.
Now, I want to get to our guests quickly, so I'm going to fly through this last one for you all. Alberta Independence Reason, 1794. We're getting close to that 1800 mark. Since 2022, Ottawa has committed at least $22 billion in financial, military, and other assistance to Ukraine, with Alberta making up roughly 10% of Canada's population. Our share of that commitment is about $2.2 billion. Money taken from Albertans to fund a foreign war we did not choose. Prime Minister Mark Carney has already signaled that Canada is not excluding boots on the ground in a future Ukraine security agreement, leaving the door open to deploying Canadian troops after a ceasefire. This means it's not just our money on the line, it could be our sons and daughters too. In a strong and free Alberta, we would not be dragged into Ottawa's forever wars. An independent Alberta would decide for itself when, where, and whether to commit money and lives overseas, instead of writing blank checks and open-ended troop commitments at the whim of Ottawa. So my whole point there is, in an independent Alberta, it'll be up to us whether or not we want to get involved or not, and how we do that. If we do want to or not, how we get that done. And it's really frustrating when you do have an Ottawa that has some sort of political motivations, especially trying to align with Europe in some way, shape, or form, committing our resources and lives to something that we don't get to vote on. Like there's no referendum on shall we do this or anything like that. It would be nice.
Yeah, take some of that 20 billion and take the 5 million for a referendum.
Fair enough. But let's go ahead and get to our guest because I think she's full of iced tea now. April, how are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
We're good. We're good. Was that iced tea? I wasn't sure.
No, it was one of my what is it, energy drinks actually. It's about 9:30. I already had my coffee, so now I'm on to my energy drinks.
Fair enough. So we're going to change the show to tea, coffee, and energy drinks. It could be any of those options, right? Good morning, April. It's really great to meet you online. I saw your post about you got yourself in a little bit of trouble by speaking some crazy talk like men are not women.
Exactly. Yeah. Apparently, saying that men can't be women is hate speech, in our Carney Canada here. So.
No, absolutely. Let's go ahead and give everybody a bit of a background because you're not just a really strong online woman, you're also a very strong woman in real life.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little short, brief background. So I was on Team Canada. I'm a former Team Canada powerlifter. I was on Team Canada for 3 years. And I actually trained through COVID. That's how I kind of got strong, was when everything shut down, I trained in my friend's garage. And during that time that I was training for nationals, I discovered that one of my friends online, who I had been chatting with for a while, who actually had been taking gold medals and who was competing in the women's category, was actually a male. So this male powerlifter and I were talking about Laura Hubbard going into the Olympics, and I said, "Oh, well, men should not be competing in women's sports." And he said, "Well, I'm a man." I said, "What? Like, how long have you been competing for?" So I said, how far do you wish to go within the Canadian Powerlifting Union? That was my federation. And he was like, well, as far as I can go, I want to go to Worlds. And I said, if you keep competing, I will speak up. And so he blocked and deleted me on Facebook. And that was kind of when I started my mission. I wrote to the federation, I used my voice, and I posted, just like little things on Instagram, like save women's sports. I actually got a verbal warning for posting save women's sports. They considered that violation of the code of conduct. They thought that was considered hate speech and harassment. And so I went to Riley Gaines in the USA and a whole bunch of different Olympic athletes actually who are, fighting for fairness. And they kind of helped me. Dr. Linda Blade from Alberta, she helped me. And then when that same male powerlifter actually ended up taking records, which he still holds today in Alberta. He still holds 2 of the records in Alberta. When he took those records at regionals, I went on to the Piers Morgan show. And I basically described the male as a 6'2", 240-pound male that took these records. And I called him a biological male, actually. And that's the sentence that got me banned from my federation because I didn't call him a woman, didn't bow down and use pronouns and call him a woman. So that's why I got suspended.
Wow. Okay. You
Yeah.
showed a tremendous amount of strength in and out of your sport. Now that Alberta has, passing Bill 9 and they're going to stop the women's or protects women's sports, so no men in there, maybe that can be reversed in the near future. And by the way, Piers Morgan show is usually a gateway to the Levine show, so not surprised that you went on that first. But here's the thing: what do you think about what's happening here in Alberta? And then we'll get into the women's strong women's competition.
With Jamie Booker.
Yeah. So let's start with the Alberta stuff. So Alberta's kind of shifting course, protecting women's sports, and using a notwithstanding clause to do that. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, so I was talking to Daniel Smith's LGBT plus advisor. I also spoke with Daniel Smith myself. So did Dr. Linda Blade. Daniel is a wonderful, wonderful woman. So caring. When I met her in the green room, she was like, how does this affect you, April? And she wanted to hear about me and what I would like to see in the legislation. Now, this was before the legislation got passed. She did invite me as an honorary guest as well to the legislature in Alberta when the bills were passed, Bill 27 and 29. And so when I went there, I'm very happy with what's happening because it's the only province, let's face it, in Canada that's doing something about this. Is it a perfect way? No. But at least it's something that's going to safeguard safety and fairness in women's sports. I kind of knew about the notwithstanding clause. I think that's great. It's good to have that in your back little pocket. I think that's wonderful. And that means the legislation will be solid, at least for girls and women will be protected for the next 5 years. So that's great. But I would love to see those records stripped. I think any men that hold records that rightfully are owned by females should be stripped and given to the rightful owner. So I still think it needs some tweaks, but you know what? Kudos to Daniel Smith for actually doing something and, leading the way in Canada. And other provinces need to follow suit. They need to follow what Danielle is doing.
Fantastic.
I agree.
And we agree on that one too. On Saturday, we had Justice Minister Mickey Amory on to talk about this, Bill 9. And now that I'm aware that there's still records being held by males in women's sports in Alberta, we'll push that issue as well. Sometimes they listen to Albertans, and maybe we can get exactly that happening, stripped. And we can recognize the true winners and the successes and the strength that they had in those sports. Now, is this happening in Ontario at all? Like, are you in Ontario?
I was just going to say, what people don't realize, because let's be honest, a lot of people sit at home at night and listen to CBC or CTV or what have you, and they will not report on all these issues happening in Canada, whether it's men in women's sports, men in women's prisons, men in women's shelters, because I will tell you now, that is happening. That is
Yeah.
definitely happening, and I mean, it's out there, and I've seen it with my own eyes. And I just got word yesterday that in British Columbia, the same federation who I was a member of, they're allowing men still to compete in the women's category. And the male powerlifter yesterday or the day before took gold medal again in British Columbia in Victoria, and also took a $500 cash prize. I mean, the only person reporting on the story was Rebel News. So, so as far as Ontario, I don't know if it's happening. I mean, not in my sport in Ontario, but yes, we have a 41-year-old male from Orangeville identifying as a 12-year-old girl swimming with the girls, using the same locker rooms as the girls
Terrible.
in Ontario. We have a rugby player who won the hardest hitter of the year on the men's team. He's now playing on the women's team in Fergus, Ontario. So, I mean, it's happening everywhere. We have 6 males on the Seneca College girls volleyball team, and that's near Toronto. So, I mean, those are just the cases that Rebel News has reported. Just imagine how many other people who, like, the other day in the strongman, just go into a competition and they don't declare what sex they are. They show no proof. There's nothing. So it's happening way, way more than people think it is.
I would agree, and at least the one thing with the strongman situation for the women's division, it's been remedied. It's been retracted. Andrew is now number 1. I think there's an Australian now who's become number 2. So that Jamie Booker is now they're aware that he's a man. He's a man, and hopefully then there'll be further restrictions on him trying to enter in the women's powerlifting or the strong women competitions. So that would be great to see. You chatted, you said, with Riley Gaines. She's been through the ringer with regard to speaking out with women's college swimming, and Leah Thompson. Are you finding that, or hopefully that there's going to be more young people speaking out? And do you think there's the potential for change now within the younger categories?
Well, I mean, I did have a powerlifter, for example. She was younger that actually didn't realize that one powerlifter in British Columbia was a male, and she actually reached out to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that he was a male." And so she came to me. She wanted some advice on what she should do because she was scared, right? The thing is, a lot of people are scared because of what happened to me. Now, my suspension happened about 3 years ago. Do I think I would be suspended today? I don't think so. But back 3 years ago, the courts were very captured. This is when all this I'll use David Menzies' words of, this is when the trans sanity came out. It was 3 years ago. And people just didn't know how to deal with it. That was the whole go woke, go broke, and all this stuff came out. So, I mean, I do think they suspended me to kind of use me as an example. I don't think anyone speaking up going further will get suspended. But people do come to me behind the scenes and go, "How can I use my voice?" And I mean, I'm good friends with Riley Gaines. She's one of my good friends through all of this. And the key message to everyone, I mean, even the younger people, and the younger people are speaking up. I've had a lot of younger people come to me, and they are realizing that, I mean, you have to use your voice. You have to boycott. You can't just go on the podium and shake hands and smile and say, "This is okay." Fathers need to use their voices. If you see like a man going into the women's sports category or a man going into the women's change room, you need to protect your daughters. This isn't just a women's issue. We all have to do this collectively. The top priority should be maintaining safety for women and children. I mean, and safety is in sports, along with fairness. So, I mean, this isn't everyone's problem. This isn't just women. Everyone needs to use their voice on this. And this is how changes are going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned boycotting as an option. I would love to see that. All women just don't go to the competition. Now, there seems to be difficulty there. Like I watch like even beauty pageants where the male is winning and the females are in the picture, smiling and applauding. I'm like, what are you doing? Why don't you just not partake in this and say, no, this is a woman's only thing. If you're going to let men in, we're not going to partake in this. Is that difficult to kind of get that kind of support from athletes to go ahead and boycott the whole event?
Now, So I just said this in another interview the other day, is that the biggest enemy of mine in this whole fight for fairness is women themselves.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so, and sorry, but I can target, I know exactly who these women are. And I don't think they voted for Pierre Paula. But anyways.
So the Maxime Bernier supporters is what you're saying.
Yeah.
If only.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got me. And it's just like, I keep stressing to them, you have to do this for your daughters. I know, and I did talk to Tammy Peterson, Jordan Peterson's wife, about this on one of her episodes. And I said, and we both agreed that women by nature, we are just more nurturing creatures, right?
Mm.
That's who we are, because we're mothers, we're just more nurturing. Now, the thing is, a lot of women look at these men as, and they are, sorry, it's a mental disorder. They're, they have problems, and they go, oh, let's just let this man come into our space. Don't hurt his feelings. We don't want to hurt his feelings. But they forget about the safety and the fairness of the sports. So they would, and the same with my federation, like the male powerlifter in my federation, I mean, he made death threats towards myself and Daniel Smith. I had to call the police on him. He did, I mean, for 2 years, he harassed me for 2 years, and he'd never got a verbal warning. But I get suspended for 2 years for fighting for fairness. So this is what I'm saying, this hierarchy system, where, trans men or trans women, AKA men, are up at the top of the hierarchy. And for some odd reason, they're putting women and girls on the back burner, and they're appeasing these men with mental illness.
But what I don't understand are the parents, especially of the young girls. Why on earth are they not speaking up? Why are they not mortified that there is a male in the changing room? Why is they not mortified that a male has the potential, while playing sports or while in these spaces, can physically harm them?
Well, I kind of want to just jump in here. I'm not a female, but I'm a male. And why don't a lot of us stand up? I would agree that we need to. But what we saw with the women's soccer team, U.S. soccer team, there was 2 women on that team that bullied the rest into going ahead and taking knees to support this cause. And you only had a few that stood up and didn't take a knee, and they got bullied like crazy. So this is, I think what they're trying to do is leverage this whole, I don't want to be bullied. I don't want to be singled out. I don't want to be attacked. I just want to keep my head down and do what I'm going to do anyway. And we're seeing a lot of that. And that strength isn't translating into action or advocacy.
Well, and that's what you see. Like, you see it in the USA, you see it here with me getting suspended. People are afraid to, trust me, was it 88%? I mean, most Canadians across the nation are on board with men should not be in women's sports. That's just a no-brainer. Majority of Canadians agree with that. So why are people speaking up? Is yes, they are afraid to, lose their jobs. They're afraid to get suspended. Like, here we have Amy Ham out in British Columbia. She gets fired for saying there's 2 genders. People are afraid, yes, to get harassed. I mean, people can be pretty cruel, but I will tell you this. When I used my voice, and I want everyone to hear this, is that I had the international powerlifting policy changed, which now protects women. So that means any man or trans woman who wants to go further over regionals in my federation, they now have to be monitored for 2 years on testosterone. They also have to submit medical records. So that same male powerlifter who harassed me never got through because he failed to submit his medical records. So when you hear people talking about all these male grifters going into these competitions to claim prizes and this and that, well, it is happening. And so because of my voice, I did have policies changed. I've had even other policies changed that, I won't mention, but smaller, HR or human rights policies changed because I said, no, it's not right. And I said, I'm a woman. I'm also protected under the Ontario Human Rights. I'm also protected. Hey, sex is protected under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So it's funny how people just forget about this. Like, it's discrimination. If we say, oh, the man can't go into our sports, but then it's not discrimination to make us share our spaces and our sports with men. Like, it's just ass backwards. Sorry, my language, but
That's okay. Language is absolutely fine. And one of the things that we're seeing here is smaller changes happening, like you did, or actually it's a big change on an international level, but not happening locally. And I don't think the people are courageous enough to stand up yet. Have you heard the term of shooting the hostage? This is something we learned from Jason Christensen, Christoph last week. This is a psychological warfare technique that's used. So they take one person and basically sacrifice them, like they did with you, or Detective Helen Grews from the police side of things. And then the rest are all the other hostages are like, oh, I don't want to be sacrificed that way. So they use you in order to shut down a lot of other people from sending forward.
I said that. I always call myself the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah. Well, the term is shooting a hostage.
Yeah. I was like, well, so was Jordan Peterson, Jordan Peterson started it all, in my opinion. Great man. Love him. But yeah, and to top it off, what I was saying about the policies being changed, because I used my voice, I don't think I've ever gotten any hate mail. I got worldwide recognition. I have everyone, tons of people behind me. I've got sponsors. It's been, opening my mouth and saying something was the best thing I ever did. And I also have it's common, but I also have integrity. So I don't know how anyone can go to bed feeling good about knowing that, okay, well, there's a man competing in the women's category. There's a man going into my daughter's change room. How can you sleep at night? Yeah.
No, and I noticed that you have faith around your neck there. So is that something that you lean on as well? Is that what gives you some of your strength?
Definitely. And yes, I'm a Christian. And I always wear this around my neck, my cross. And always, I pray every day, pray every night. And it's just, and it just, when times are tough or if I'm feeling a little bit down, obviously, because, when I got suspended, I don't know if a lot of your viewers know, I'm also a recovering alcoholic. So, sports played a huge life in me staying sober. So I actually almost died from my alcoholism. And when I came out of the hospital, I started powerlifting as a way to help me stay fit, to keep me busy. And so, the Federation didn't look at that, and they knew that powerlifting helped save my life. They didn't look at my mental health or what I needed the sport for. They just bent over backwards for the male's mental health. But I tell you, yes, my belief and love in Christ has helped me every day for sure.
Well, I got to tell you, there's a lot of girls in Canada, probably around the world, that have another role model in you. So thank you for doing that part of it. You fought for 3 years and you're making change. Are you back in competitions? What's your current status?
No, so my suspension was appealed. I hired Lisa Bildy, human rights lawyer, and we appealed my suspension. So it got reduced to a year. The male powerlifter actually ended up getting suspended for harassment after that, but only 6 months. But I had the policies change internationally, but the Canadian Powerlifting Union still allows males to compete at a local level. And for that reason, I did not go back to compete because there's no way that I will go to a competition and A, have to compete against a man, because I wouldn't, or B, watch some little girl start her first competition or her love for the sport and then just get, just obliviated by a man or a boy in the sport. Because grassroots, and this is also something I told to Danielle and her team, was it starts, I got my love for sports when I was 5 years old, when my dad took me to the ice rink every morning and we did power skating, and I did every other sport after that. And sports has helped save my life. It helped save other people's lives. So I'm just saying, I just can't go back and watch that. It has to start at the grassroots. So all these public schools you see, all the, 12 and under, they also need to be having boy-only sports and girl or female-only sports as well. But I'm not competing. I am taking up pickleball right now, of course, like everyone else in the world. So I'm trying to get more competitive in that. I have a coach for it, so I'm just putting all my time in that, and I'm still being an advocate. I still travel around the world doing my talks, and I also will be going to the Conservative Convention in January as a Andrew Lawton's rep for his EDA.
Fantastic. Stay politically motivated. That's a good one. I got just before you go
Yeah.
there, Paula. I got a couple questions. One,
Mhm.
would you support a third division, which is trans, and they can go ahead and compete all they want in that division? And second, another option for you is to just start your own federation, XX, double X, or something like. Start your own, compete, and athletes will come over to yours if you have different rules. Maybe there's a way to compete on that level first to get the federation fixed up.
Yeah, that could be an option. Not something I'm ready to tackle right now is starting my own federation, but
Would you join
that is
another one that started up?
what's that, sorry?
Would you join one that started up if there was a women's
Oh,
only?
Definitely I would. I would love that. That would be wonderful. But I definitely agree with the third category. But the thing is, I mean, people in Canada and even Swim Canada put out a third category for transgender athletes, and they failed to come. So we have put that option out there, and it's kind of what like Danielle Smith is doing, because Danielle Smith has a female, a male, and then a co-ed category. So that way, what I like about that is because remember I told you about the women that support this. Well, the women can go into the co-ed and support the transgender athletes if they wish. They can go into the co-ed league. But I've always been for a trans category for sure. And let's keep in mind, being an advocate for fairness and safety is not about we don't hate trans. We don't. It's not a hate thing. It's literally just pro woman. It's pro safety. It's pro fairness. It's not to do with hate. I just want the viewers to know that. So.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's also proof that they're not interested in competing. They're interested in beating women.
Yes.
Full stop.
Yeah.
They're interested
Yes,
in that.
exactly.
Not interested in competing, because then create a league. Go ahead. You won't have a market if you're going to, continue to go after women.
Yeah.
So create a new one. We'll see what happens, but I doubt they will. Like you said, you've tried the co-ed one. We were in co-ed volleyball.
Yeah.
It was fun. Lots of good fun in it. Co-ed
Oh, yeah.
softball. Too.
Yeah, that's like me. I play pickleball. So that's the thing. I choose to play mixed doubles. So I'm choosing to play against a male. So that's fine. If you go into a sport where you have, you're knowingly signing up to compete against a male, that's fine. But not what's happening like where, I mean, the scary part is actually pickleball. A lot of these federations, I just noticed that they don't even ask you for ID when you go up to compete. Like I've been to many tournaments and they don't even ask me for my ID. Mind you, I mean, I don't even know how many more sports in Canada that have a weak policy or a trans inclusion policy like my federation did. But maybe I'll take some time to go through them all in Canada, but I almost don't want to look at it.
You had a question there, Paul?
Yeah, I was just wondering, on your international travels, what nations or what sports have you come across that are starting to turn around, or still are in the mindset of no, men are women and are safe to be in women's sports?
Well, I know in Canada here, the Strongman Corp, because I talked to them and used my voice, they changed their policy, so they now protect women and girls. That's one federation. But as far as federations in Canada, I don't know any myself. But I mean, the USA is looking great because of Trump, right? Trump put his orders out. It's wonderful. He's cutting funding. Sadly, Canada is just Canada is well,
lost.
put it this way. Yeah, I was in a cafe the other day and I heard these women over talking about a trans athlete that came to University of Western. This is where I live in London, Ontario. And they were saying trans woman. So I knew it was a male. And they said that he moved from Oregon to University of Western to London, Ontario, because his funding was cut. And I was like, wow, a big track athlete. So I thought, how many athletes are coming from the States now, because Trump cut the funding, are now being accepted at the universities here in Canada, taking spots away from Canadian women athletes, taking scholarships. Like it's mind-blowing. And I just didn't clue into it. But I said to these ladies, I was really affected by a man coming into my sport, and I told them my whole story. And it's funny because they heard the story on CBC. And I was like, so they just looked at me, they looked so shocked. They're like, oh, it was almost like, wow, does it really exist? I'm like, yeah, because you listen to CBC. Because
Yeah.
people open your horizons here and like, it's happening in Canada. Like I'm living proof, I'm telling you right now. So
And I think it's going to be difficult when we have our prime minister who has a trans child. And I think it's going to be difficult for them to implement, separate the men from the women in the sports. I don't know. We'll see how that rolls out over the years, if there is going to be any type of implementation where there is, as originally started, separation with it between the genders.
Now, one of the things that Minister Amory said on the show on Saturday was he'd be more than willing to share all of his work with any other province. If any other province wants to, replicate the laws, replace Alberta to Ontario, go ahead. He'd be happy to work with them. Anybody in Ontario reaching out to you from Doug Ford's office in any way, shape, or form, you get that ball rolling?
I met with Doug Ford 3 years ago, and he shook my hand. I was wearing my hat, my brand, Keep Female Sports Female, and he's like, "Oh, what does that sweatshirt mean?" And I told him who I told him who I was. So like pretty simple. And he's like, "Oh, I totally agree with you," and that I have daughters, and I agree with you. So I thought, "Oh, great." So when I do approach him, because I wrote this letter for him, and I'm part of a women's group as well called CASBAR here in Canada. And I said, I haven't sent the letter yet because I just been kind of watching Doug Ford and what he's doing. Our sports minister is Neil Lumsden. Nothing from him. I wrote him, emailed him twice, and they're nothing. But I wouldn't really. I don't see Doug Ford doing much. So
maybe label him a trans conservative. So really a liberal at birth. But
I was just going to say he's not a conservative. I would call him liberal light or what have you. For someone that doesn't even spend time or know or get to know, Pierre Poilievre, but then is best buddies with Carney, is just no. So, and I totally agree with what you said, Paula, about Carney and the Liberal Party are not for keeping men out of women's sports or shelters or prisons. Yes, if you're going to see changes, we need to basically vote out the Liberals. So,
yeah. Right, and in Alberta, a big change could be to leave Canada altogether and do our own
exactly.
thing.
That's exactly it. And that's why you talk about my cross. I just keep, I hold faith in the fact that, the expressions good conquers bad or light conquers dark. I said this the other day, like it will come around. It will solve itself out. I do think this naturally, and, it might take some time. And we use that phrase, common sense. It's just going to work itself out. And we're going to get our female only category back and our safe spaces. I do believe that is going to happen. We just have to keep fighting and speaking up and keep pressing forward and being, we have to be positive about it.
I think so too. I think we've noticed, especially over the last couple of years, because it's funny you said you had yours at 3 years ago. You had your suspension, and I do think since then there has been a shift in the celebration of Pride, the Pride Month, and now we are starting to see more of us. Vocalization against men and women's sports, and now the reversal of results. So I think correct, the tide is changing. I think we just really need to ensure that we're protecting the kids, keeping it out of their sport so that it's not rising up through, so it's not something that's normalized for them they're growing up with.
Now, you did mention when we're setting you up, I'll throw you on a second. You did mention that you had a hard deadline or hard time. Is that still, you have to go soon?
Oh, I will have to go soon. Yeah, probably about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and tackle what Paula had to say there. We'll jump over to our private side, have a couple more minutes with you, and then get you back to your day.
Okay, sure. I was just going to say, like, the having boys and girls sports at a young age, it's no different. It's indoctrination, right? You're not teaching them the differences between boys and girls. There's a reason why we have male and female birth charts. Like, boys are different from the day they're born. So, as you grow older, I remember when I was doing track and field when I was, I was 12 years old. I was super fast. I was the fastest runner, and we'd always at recess, they'd always put me in the backyard, and I would race the fastest boy. I'd almost beat him, but I always lost to him. So I mean, and there's a reason why, say, for example, like the high school soccer team, like trains with the Canadian women's soccer team. You know what I mean? There's all these differences, and I mean, for people to say, oh well, what if they lower their testosterone levels? And women are more than a hormone level. There's more to it, and the thing is, usually the nanomoles that they have it set to is pretty high. So any man could actually go into that competition with a lower testosterone. But men have, bigger wingspan, VO2 max, fast twitch fibers, larger hands, like everything. So it's just not a testosterone level. But all these developmental changes and the changes between boys and girls start at a young age. So you're going to see little boys beat little girls in sports. And no little girl is going to love playing sports or want to go further if they keep getting beat.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're crushing that dream for sure. Let's protect all of that. So hang on for a second. We're going to say goodbye to the public. We'll come see you for a couple more minutes and then get you back to your day. Thank you very much, April.
Hang on.
You're back. Oop, push this button. There we go. So make sure you join the Levine Show, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. I want to hurry up and get to our backstage because we have a wonderful guest in only a few more minutes. But yeah, women's sports, that should be the easy one. Shelters, prisons, all of that should be easy. Spaces, bathrooms, washrooms, change rooms, all of that should be super easy. And I think we're winning, though. I think we're winning. People like April standing up, fighting, getting things changed. We're making a difference. So let's keep this conversation going.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So please go ahead and join us in our locals, become a supporter. And everyone, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.
And Paul is a woman. I love you all very much, and God bless.